right, welcome back. Today we have back on the show Charles Santino. Last time we talked to him, he was doing an Indiegogo for, let's see, it's the H. Beam Piper's Little Fuzzy. Now he's talking, today we're going to be talking about Rammur, is his new creation and thing he's working on. So let me go ahead and bring in Charles and we'll find more about the project.
How you doing?
Hey Charles, how's it going?
Very good.
I was also looking for the date, but I think it was it's been almost a year since we last talked.
Yeah, little fuzzy kind of went down in flames, so,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, sorry to hear that.
Rammur's a lot more commercial.
So, other than that, so has Rammur been the thing that you've been kind of working on since then?
And before. For about literally 27 years. Joe Staten was the first artist to depict him in a different form, and then there was another artist, Andrew Wendell, who worked on a different iteration of Rammur, and Paulo Perez designed the current and final version.
All right, well, let's watch a quick intro video that you have for the project, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Rammur. Tell me, the inspirations behind it. What is the story about?
Well, it's funny because I was on the phone with somebody last night and just haphazardly watching Facebook, and all of a sudden I saw a stream and they were showing my video, and they were they were critiquing it. And so I sent a few comments, and one of the critiques was, well, the video is really good and the concept is great, but what is the actual story about? So we'll get into that. That's now going to have to be part of my rap because now somebody complained about it. But basically, Rammur is a master thief in a future police state. And I guess that's probably one of the shorter elevator pitches in the history of entertainment. He's got two interests: money and women. And these are heist stories. These are crime stories. My publisher is Markosia in the UK. They're doing this digitally. Eventually, they'll collect some of the material in the first 3 issues, but they've allowed me to go ahead and do a crowdfunding for the print version of this. 48 pages, and there will be material in this that will not be reprinted.
Oh, okay. So, how did you come? How were you inspired to tell this story with this character? I mean, you said it was 20. You've been working on it for 27 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it might be closer to 28 now, but I think 27 years. It was published 27 years later, which was December 31st of last year on Comixology Digital. But I read an article, and I believe it was in the Wall Street Journal maybe 27 years ago, about the future hydrogen economy and how the clean burning energy of hydrogen was going to become the future. We're still waiting for that future, but it gave me the idea. I remember from the Larry Niven science fiction stories the Ram scoop, which was strapped to a spaceship, and it would suck up hydrogen atoms and turn them into energy. So I thought, okay, why don't I put one of those on his chest and put a compact fusion reactor on his back? So that's how he gets his energy for his leg jets and his wrist blasters. I figured this would make a good hero. He ended up in his third version here being he's a villain. I mean, he's a thief, he's a criminal, but he's in such a despicable society that we root for him, because most of the people that he's going to be robbing are people we're not too thrilled with. I mean, he's not rolling winos in an alley. He's robbing people who probably deserve it.
No? And so, besides the main character of Rammur, who's his supporting cast?
He's really by himself. I'm very slowly building a supporting cast. In the first issue, we're introduced to a female character, Snowberry, who is an apprentice to his mechanic who fixes his ram scoop gear. She's going to become a squeeze of sorts, and she's also going to be a recurring character who probably will get involved in various heists and capers, but also is called upon to fix his gear. And the second issue will introduce another thief that he occasionally partners with. Pretty much he's by himself, and the casts of these stories are going to be very small, and not too many of these characters are going to survive the stories that they're in, which is kind of a shame, because Paulo Perez, my artist, is so good at designing characters that I can't really think of any of them as throwaway characters. But I do tell him at the beginning of the story, I do say, this character is not surviving the story. This one may or may not, so just keep that in mind. This one might have legs, so to speak. But it's a really small cast, and one of the things I like to do in stories that is very rarely done is everything that happens in every one of these stories is only known to the handful of people it happened to. There's no galactic epics, there's no world-spanning events. Rammur has a caper, he's going to rob something. Maybe he has some people helping him, maybe he has some people trying to thwart him. Maybe he gets away with the loot, maybe he just gets away with his life. But when all is said and done, there may be only a handful of people that knew about the events of the story, and about half of them probably going to be dead at the end of the story. So I like to keep the focus really, really small.
And I know you've kind of mentioned it already, but tell us a little bit about the art team that you're working with. Were they people that you've worked with before, or you liked their work?
Paulo Perez I found online. I actually Googled animated style art because I wanted to do something in the style of the old Batman animated comics from DC. And I found Paulo, and he had a number of different styles, but it looked like he could do that. So I contacted him, and he was available, and he wanted to do it. And he's now working on the third issue. The first one is what we are pushing here. The second one is completed, and he just started the third one. There's another artist doing backup stories, Marco Perugini. He's in Italy. He reached out to me. He did the video. The art is Paulo's, but Marco actually put that video together. And there's a backup story of 6 pages in Rammur #2 that Marco drew. He also drew one of the backup feature stories. There's another feature in Rammur called Tops, Tales of the Police State. These are funky, depressing little vignettes about life in the police state in Rammur's universe, but not involving Rammur. Very different types of stories, kind of alternative comics type of stories. And Marco drew one of those, and some other artists are involved in those as well.
And I believe I saw in something that you posted that the book was maybe the art style was influenced by Darwin Cook.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I pitched a Donald Westlake adaptation to IDW and did it in the style of Darwin's Parker books, thinking this would be a good sister publication for them. And uh, Darwin thought otherwise. In fact, he chewed me a new one about ripping him off. Joe Staton did the art, and they shut me down with the Westlake estate. They called the estate and said, "Don't renew this guy's option for that work." But it gave me the idea to do a tough guy character like that. The book was Anarchaos. It's a science fiction story, and I decided, well, why don't I just do my own tough guy in the future?
Mm-hmm.
And so I created Rammur and thought, well, why don't I also do it in the animated style? Now, Joe Staton wasn't available, but he did a little bit more design work for the character before Paulo got it.
Oh. And so this is a limited series to start off with, correct?
It's only limited in the sense that they're not going to come out very quickly. Each issue has self-contained stories. The first issue has a 24-page story, a 6-page story, a 4-page story, and a 2-page story. They're all self-contained. Second issue will be pretty much the same format. Eventually, probably 3 issues will be collected, but some of the material in the first issue will not be in the collection, so you still have to get the first issue. But it's limited in the sense that I'll keep doing it as long as I can.
Oh, okay. And so it seems like you have a lot of stories that you would like to tell with this character.
I'd like to tell more than I'm telling now. I'd like to do more issues faster, but right now it's self-funded. The Indiegogo hopefully will change that a little bit. So I'm putting them out as fast as I can, which is not very fast at all.
So I think the last time we talked, besides the your previous Indiegogo, you were also working. Well, you'd worked on the cartoon.
Danny and Harry.
Yeah, Danny and Harry.
Yeah, Danny and Harry was also for Markosia, the same publisher that is publishing the digital of Rammur. And that was a funny animal crime noir story set in what looked like probably the late 40s. Mm-hmm. And the artist on that, Walter Brogan, is very much a fan of film noir. So that was our inspiration for that. And the animals looked funny, but the stories were pretty violent and brutal.
I enjoyed it, and I was, kind of wondering if there was more coming down the line.
Possibly, but that would be way down the road.
Oh, okay. I guess it doesn't hurt to check.
Yeah.
So, what other projects have you been working on, if any, along with this one, or has this one kind of gotten your main focus as of late?
Actually, I do. Each month I'm doing Edgar Rice Burroughs webcomics. Not the Tarzan or John Carter stuff, but some of the more mainstream stuff that Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote. Melodramas, soap operas, murder mysteries, things like that. And they're up on the Edgar Rice Burroughs website. They have a subscription service for the webcomics. You get 4 free, and then I think it's $2.99 a month for something like 16 different weekly comics, and they're a half page each week, so it's quite a bit of material for a little bit of money. And there, Tarzan is there, John Carter is there, Ron Mars is doing work there, and a lot of other people. There's quite a few named people that are working on that.
Yeah, I remember you. I think the last time we talked in person was, I think it was the New York Comic Con in 2019. That's been a while.
Yeah, that was the last one.
So, yeah, but so where can people go if they want to check out your project?
Yeah, they would go to Indiegogo and type in Rammur, Rammur. They can find me on Facebook, Charles Santino, and also there's a separate page called Rammur and Tops Tales of the Police State. I'm on Instagram and Twitter as Charles Santino. I don't do a heck of a lot there, but I am there.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to say about the project that maybe I didn't ask you about?
Well, yeah. Since those critics complained about the lack of description of the story, I'll read the copy on Comixology describing the first story.
Sure.
A museum heist gone wrong. Two thieves dead. Rammur's fusion gear damaged. The target of the break-in, a banned object of art, destroyed. But that's just the beginning of Rammur's problems because one of his colleagues is a police informant. Can Rammur figure out who's tipping off the cops before he finds himself in a global Freedom Authority labor camp? So it's a heist story with double crosses.
There, I'll bring up a picture of the book.
That's the cover?
Yeah, the cover. This right behind you. Right behind you. Give people a better look at it.
Yeah, and that's Paulo Perez's art. He's based in Brazil.
Okay, it's not that I really know a lot about art, but from what I can tell, it's very nice and clean, and it's the type of art that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I wanted a slightly different look from anything that's out there. Obviously influenced by the animated style. There aren't too many people working in this style right now, but people seem to like it. For some people, it's new and fresh. For other people, it's nostalgia.
Mm-hmm. What does this series, bring back any nostalgia for you?
Well, the animated stuff from DC in the 90s, I actually picked up on a little bit later. I was aware of it at the time and saw a little bit of it, but it didn't really click with me at the time. And now looking back on it, it seems so well done and so simple and so easy to read and understand and so enjoyable compared to some of the complexity of and the user unfriendliness of a lot of comics today, where you feel like, what did I miss for the last? Maybe I need to go pick up the last 50 issues so I can figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time today to chat. It's nice to catch up with you. Are you planning to go to any shows? I mean, I know that's it's still kind of iffy for people.
Well, the New York show has been announced.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it happens. If it does, I'll be there. I know that they started they opened up the application for the tables, for the artist tables, mm-hmm. and I think they said something about either half capacity or third capacity. I can't remember, which would be fine with me because it's gotten so crazy with the number of tickets they've been selling. And I do know that here in Albany, the convention will probably come back in November at a different hotel.
Yeah, because the Red Lion or wherever closed.
Yeah, they're shut down.
Yeah, I haven't heard from John as to what his plans are, but that'd be something to catch up with him about.
Yeah, last time I talked to him, he said he was talking to two different venues, one on Wolf Road and one somewhere else, and I think he'll have it wrapped up pretty soon so he can come back in November.
Well, maybe we'll see each other there then.
I hope so.
I don't know if I'm ready for New York. Just not right now. But
well,
we'll
I found the last few years in New York, the trick to not getting sick is I would carry a medium-sized bottle of hand sanitizer, and I would completely wash my hands with the hand sanitizer once an hour.
Yeah.
And that seemed to work.
This year, go back to the hotel and bathe in it,
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll
Thank you.
definitely include all the links to everything. And if you ever want to come back on, you know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, the Indiegogo is going pretty well. Picked up 5 backers in the last 3 days, so hopefully we can pick up some more today.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you,
All right,
and
thanks a
as
lot.
always, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you
Thanks.
soon.
Take care.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.